Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled parent stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. Artist's sister-in-law wants my husband and I to support her instead of getting a real job. After that, my friends can't pay for Uber and are furious my mom is driving us to the concert tomorrow. And after that, entitled mom on the plane thinks her son needs to look out of my window, even if it hurts me. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one carrot has to get a job. I already have one. It's called sitting here listening to you read all day. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. Artist's sister-in-law wants my husband and I to support her instead of getting a real job. My husband, 39 male, and I, 37 female, have been married for 8 years and we have 2 kids. He and his sister, my sister-in-law, who's 31, have always been close despite the age difference. There's also a brother in between who isn't relevant to this post. Sister-in-law is an artist who has been working full-time on her art since graduating from school several years ago. I respect art and believe it can absolutely be someone's full-time job, but the fact is that she's never made any money off of her art aside from selling the occasional piece to a family friend. I don't want to pass judgment on her art because I'm no expert, STEM person here, but she's been trying to make it for years and years at this point and hasn't gained any traction. I don't think she's going to start making money off of it anytime soon. Still, she considers her art her career, and my husband is supportive and proud of her. We own multiple pieces of hers. Her parents were fully supporting her financially until a couple of years ago when she moved in with her boyfriend who took over. She and the boyfriend broke up earlier this year, and she moved into a nice apartment funded by her parents. Unfortunately, my in-laws recently passed suddenly and unexpectedly. It was devastating. What they left behind will support sister-in-law for a while, but not forever, and not in the standard of living she's accustomed to, which includes having to move out of her current apartment. Husband told me he wanted to give her money every month so that she can keep working full-time on her art and maintain her standard of living. We both fortunately have high-paying jobs and a lot already saved for our kids, so we could easily afford it. However, I don't like the idea of supporting a non-disabled adult forever who could make her own living but chooses not to. I'm okay with helping her out temporarily while she starts working and figures out how to make her own living, but not forever. I don't care if she starts out at minimum wage. She just has to be doing something that will make money and start her path to independence. I did slip up and call it a real job to my husband. She and husband are both telling me that I'm the jerk because if she has to work full-time, she won't have time anymore for her art, and that being an artist is a real job already. He says I don't understand the sibling bond since I'm an only child. His other brother agrees with me and says it would be about time sister-in-law got out into the real world. Am I the jerk? Edit. Sister-in-law has submitted to work to many galleries, tried to sell her art online via social media, etc. She's tried to sell to a larger audience than family friends and family members, but hasn't gotten any bites. So her not selling her work widely isn't for lack of trying, unfortunately. I'm not sure if it's because she's not great at promotion or because the market doesn't want what she's selling. What would you do in this situation? Would you support sister-in-law or not? Please let us know. I'd help her get some career coaching. Loving art and being great at it doesn't guarantee you can make money. Need to get business savvy, bruh. My friends can't pay for Uber and are furious my mom is driving us to the concert tomorrow. I'm supposed to be going to a concert tomorrow, August 25th, with 3 of my friends. There are 4 bands total. The 3 of them are flying out here. It's an hour-long flight, and I was supposed to pick them up from the airport, take them to a cheap diner, and then to the concert. Well, today my car battery is completely dead and won't start with a jump. It's been having other mechanical issues and will be going to the shop tomorrow afternoon. So now my mom will be taking us and picking us up. There is no public transport around here, so that's out, and the Ubers are ridiculously expensive. Between the 4 of us, we don't have that much money, barely enough for food, let alone Ubers. Those concert tickets were $250 a pop. The concert venue is also 2 hours away from my house. Their flight gets in tomorrow at 3 p.m. My mom is picking them up from the airport after work around 6 p.m. She works about an hour away from the concert venue, which they are furious about since the gates open at 4:30 p.m. and we were originally planning on being there by 5. Also, no dinner for them. They will have to either eat before they go to the airport or eat the expensive airport food. We will be at the venue by 7 p.m. The first band comes on at 6. The one band we all really wanted to see comes on at 9. This concert is supposed to go on until 1 a.m. My mom said we need to be out front in the parking lot by 10. She refuses to pick us up any later because she has to work the next day. She said if I keep asking, then we can forget about going altogether. We're lucky she's even considering taking us to begin with. She also said if we aren't out front by 10 p.m., then we're walking back home. She's not playing any games. I told my friends that we have to leave by 10 and they are upset, which is understandable because I'm not happy either. We will only be there from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. instead of 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. like originally planned. But it is what it is. I don't really see the point in going anymore. Then the next day, they have to sit in the airport for a few hours until their flight leaves because my mom is dropping them off at 7 a.m. since she has to be at work by 8. Their flight out isn't until 10 a.m. My friends are upset. They said since my car broke down, I can pay for their Ubers. I can't pay for their Ubers, and my mom thinks they're being ridiculous. They can either take my mom's offer on a ride, or they can pay for Ubers themselves. They said they can't afford the Ubers, and it's not fair for them to pay for the Ubers. They also said since they have to eat airport food, I can also pay for that too. There are food vendors at the venue, or you can eat before you go. You can also eat at my house after the concert. They don't want to do that. They also don't want to sit at the airport for hours. I said I'm doing the best I can. At this point, if we don't go, then we all eat the cost of the concert tickets and they eat the cost of the flights. I don't know what else to do. I don't have that much extra spending money and my mom isn't paying for Ubers or anybody's food. I suggested we don't go anymore because it doesn't seem like it would be worth it and it's becoming a pain in the butt. All 3 are having tantrums. They're mad I invited them to go, mad I'm wasting their money. They still want to go, but nothing I suggest is good enough. They want me to pay for their food, Ubers, because it's inconveniencing them. They're calling me a flake and mean names that I'd rather not list. Said they were all excited and I got their hopes up for nothing. I should feel really bad for what I did and that I ruined their week. Just all this crap. I wasn't planning on my car breaking down, but it is what it is. I don't know what else to do at this point. I'm not really happy about wasting $250 on a ticket if we don't go. I mean, we can either go and be there from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. or we eat the cost of concert/plane tickets and stay at home. Update. Per several suggestions on my last post, I should ask my friends to pitch in for the Ubers or the cost of a new battery. The cost for a new battery from AAA is about $160. I don't have $160 to spare on a new battery myself. So I suggested to my 3 friends that we split the cost. They can each Venmo me the money so we can go to the concert tonight. 160 divided by 4 would be $40 each. My friends said they aren't going to spend their food money on my car battery and then starve the whole time. They were only planning on bringing $40 to $50 each for food and that's it. They said they don't have any more money to bring and their parents won't give them money. They also don't want to risk getting stuck on the side of the road because my car has mechanical issues. That I need to pay for an Uber to pick them up from the airport and drive them to the concert venue and back to my house after. It's $136 one way from airport to concert. From the venue to my house, it's $95. They refuse to pay for their own Uber because they can't afford it, and I'm the one inconveniencing them, so I should pay. They're still pretty mad and still calling me every name under the sun, sending texts in all caps, swearing and all, screaming and hanging up on phone calls when I try to talk to them over the phone. Because they spent $250 on a single concert ticket, so did I, and $80 each on round-trip flights, and they think I should pay for their food and Ubers since our original plan failed. It's a huge inconvenience to them since they are the ones flying out here. I said if I get a new car battery, then we can go out to a cheap diner and stay at the concert as long as we want. We can stick to our original plans. They don't want to do that. They said it's not their car battery, so they aren't willing to help pay for it. It's my problem to deal with, and they've already spent enough money. They said if I was a good friend, I would be more than willing to pay for them because I haven't spent nearly as much as them. I don't have that much extra spending money myself right now, so if they don't want to do that, then my mom can drive us like suggested in my last post, or we don't go at all. Uber is out of the question. It's too expensive and we can't afford it. My mom is already at work right now, so her renting a car is out of the question. I asked before she left, and she said she's not going through all that just so we can all go to a stupid concert. We can take her offer or not go at all. Update 2. I sent those 3 girls, we are all girls, I don't know why people thought we were guys, but I sent them the same message before I blocked them. I said, I don't appreciate being called every name under the sun because my car broke down. You don't think I'm upset about it either? I tried being accommodating considering this is so last minute and nothing I suggested was good enough for any of you. So guess what? I'm done. Forget it. I'm no longer interested in going. If you 3 still want to fly out here, then you can have fun finding your own rides. It is no longer my problem. I don't care if you think I'm being a jerk. I think you're all being selfish and really immature. You showed me your true colors, and now I'm gonna show you mine. I then blocked them on social media and I blocked their numbers. I'm so irritated with them right now. I know what I said was pretty crappy, but I'm so over this whole situation. I am beyond annoyed right now. Also, there are so many tickets up for resale right now. I did list mine, but there's no bites. So I might just have to eat the $250, which I'm not happy about, but it is what it is. I don't think I would have had fun going to the concert by myself. If I did go, I would only be there for 3 hours anyways, because my mom would still have to drop me off and pick me up. It's just not worth it to me. I am upset plans fell through, and I don't get to see the concert, but this isn't the last time these bands will be touring either. Crap happens, unfortunately. My mom is willing to pay for a new car battery, but she wants me to be home when AAA is here. She wants me to deal with them, so I won't be getting a new battery today. Update 3. I got sent a bunch of videos and pictures from a random number of all the bands, along with selfies of all 3 of them at the concert and pictures of them eating filet mignon at some upscale restaurant. Funny how earlier today none of them had more than $40 to pitch in. It appears they have way more than what they each told me by the videos and pictures that I was sent. They somehow managed to make it from the airport to the concert, and it appears they also have a hotel room. It's just the 3 of them. Funny how they didn't like any of my previous suggestions of how to get to the concert. It wasn't good enough. I was expected to pay for their Ubers and food because I was inconveniencing them because my car battery died and is having mechanical issues. So I told them off and blocked them. I decided to stay home because I don't have a running car and didn't want to go to the concert by myself. My mom also didn't want to drop me off by myself. She didn't think it would be safe. I wasn't able to sell the $250 ticket either. I lowered the price to $150, but still no bites. So I ate the cost of that. It's now 9:45 p.m. The concert is still going on as I type this, but I've been at home and just got sent texts from a random number with all that. Spam texts. Whoever is behind that also told me to go forget myself. I'm the worst friend on the planet. They're having a way better time without my cheap self. I don't deserve any friends after how I treated them, amongst other insults. I didn't respond back, I just blocked the number. But yeah, I'm pretty irritated right now. It is what it is, I'm definitely not happy, but I don't even know what to say anymore. Bruh. Entitled mom on the plane thinks her son needs to look out of my window, even if it hurts me. This happened a few years ago on a transatlantic flight, 7 hours or so. I had a window seat and entitled mom sat down next to me with her son, who was maybe around 5. She seemed nice enough, and the kid was eating a box of animal crackers. Man, I totally should have bought some animal crackers before boarding. Anyway, after she had settled her things, she said to me, "He'd really like to look out the window. Would you mind switching?" She was more or less polite, but I could sense the undercurrent of entitlement, and I was just not in the mood for it. Being polite, but firm myself, I responded, "I'd prefer to stay in my seat. Also, it's an overnight flight." I gestured outside. It's dark out. She shifted from politely waiting for me to do her bidding and escalated to the Karen glare. "Just switch with him. He wants to look outside." "So, you want me to sit between you?" "What? No. He'll take the window while you take the aisle." Her expression added, "Obviously. Geez, how clueless can you be?" I stared at her, wondering what the heck was wrong with her. Entitled Mom stared back, clearly wondering what the heck was wrong with me. And you might also be wondering what the heck was wrong with me. Why didn't I just switch, right? Well, you see, what isn't obvious to you, but was plainly obvious to Entitled Mom, was that my arm was in a sling. If I moved to the aisle seat, per her demands, that arm would be in the aisle, fully available for bodies and beverage carts to bump it throughout the long flight. Just sitting next to someone was a calculated risk, but since it wasn't like I could afford to book an empty seat just to baby my lemon of a shoulder, it was the lesser of two evils, one seatmate versus an entire flight's worth of traffic. When it became clear that Entitled Mom wasn't going to make the connection without some guidance, I pointed emphatically at my sling. I messed up my shoulder a few days ago and it really hurts. I don't want people bumping into it. The Karen glare intensifies. People aren't going to bump into it if you're not leaning out of your seat into the aisle. Please just let him look out of the window. She did say please, but she was basically speaking in the Karen voice at this point, so the please was doing as much heavy lifting as it would if she were saying, please go get your manager so I can have you fired. I'd basically had enough at this point, so I just took a muscle relaxer, put on my headphones, and knocked out for the long flight, because forget her. When we landed in London, the kid was out cold and Entitled Mom looked like she was on the verge of hallucinating from lack of sleep, though she still mustered enough energy to shoot me the tired Karen glare. I think she legitimately spent the entire flight fuming that I wouldn't let her, now sleeping, son look out of the window at the darkness. I seriously considered telling her I'd done her a favor. After all, if he had spent that long looking into the void would have eventually begun looking into him. That may have been the muscle relaxers talking. I certainly don't want to harass a customer. So, I finally have a story to post here. I work in health, IT. Specifically, I assist people with getting into various patient portals to access their health information, make appointments, message doctors, etc. 95% of the people who call us are nice and often grateful when we're able to help them get back into their portal. Some start as frustrated, but once they see we're able to help them and get them what they need, they transform and become as sweet as pudding pie. Then there's the other 5%. Oh boy. A note here that the company I work for is excellent. They put an emphasis on customer service first, but also have our back if there are any genuine issues with a customer misbehaving. Everything is recorded, so if there are any questions, quality assurance or management can go back, hear for themselves, and make recommendations as needed. All this leads to our caller for today. Mr. Jerk was having problems getting into his portal. He calls me, literally yelling about how broken and garbage your system is, with a tone implying I personally picked the EHR and portal for a medical organization in another state just to spite him. Hey, no hurt feelings here. There are some things I don't like about the portal either, but he continues on and on about how much he hates it. All his friends hate it, his neighbors hate it, his pets hate it, and so on. When I can finally get a polite word in, I ask him for his name so I can look him up in our system. He spits out his name, Bob Jerk. Per HIPAA, I also have to ask for 2 secondary identifiers to make sure he is the right Bob Jerk. I ask for his date of birth and the last 4 of his social per procedure. He rants about why can't I get him back into his chart now and screeches out the rest of his info. I try to find him in the system as he continues babbling angrily, and lo and behold, he's not in there. I politely ask him to spell his name. Geez, don't you know how to do your job? Turns out his name is not spelled like the normal Jerk. It's spelled a little bit differently. I finally find him and open his file. So, you can't get into the portal, sir? Yes, didn't I just say that? Okay, sir, I see your username is jerknozzle86. I can't look up old passwords, so would you like me to give you a temporary one? Screaming intensifies. I'm already in my portal, he cries in fury, completely contradicting what he said mere seconds ago. I need help finding my information. I'm now holding my headset away from my ear in pain. If my cubicle neighbor had not been at lunch, I'm pretty sure he'd be able to hear this guy just as clearly as me. I'm sorry, sir. I thought you just said, don't you even know what you're doing? Well, sir, what are you— Why do you keep asking me these questions? You're harassing me. Oh, well now, I can't be harassing my customers. That's just not appropriate and against our company's policies, of course. Deep breath, clear voice. Well, sir, I'm trying to assist you, but if you feel I'm harassing you, then I'm afraid I need to end this call. The screaming had become intelligible at this point, though I hear a couple of curse words thrown in there. Remember how I said our company has our back? If this kind of language is used, we're allowed to disconnect after a warning, and I had already told him I was going to end this call. I'm sorry I wasn't able to help you, sir. Thank you for calling Patient Portal. Have a good day. Push end call. Per procedure, I immediately notified quality assurance of what had just happened in case the guy called back with complaints or started bellowing at other agents. Quality assurance listens to the call and comes back with, "Wow, that guy started angry and he never let up. You tried to help and you had more patience than I would have. You're fine." I went on to help many other lovely customers through the rest of the day. He thankfully never called back. I would not be surprised to find out he had filled himself with so much rage that he spontaneously combusted, leaving a vacuum of bitterness behind in his place. Am I the jerk? Told my boss I'm not required to answer my phone 24/7 and now he's salty. I, 37 male, work in a department where I'm the sole expert for our equipment. If an issue comes up and the shift crew can't figure it out, I'm the first one they try to contact. I'm happy to help since I'm friends with all of our guys, but these calls can come at late night or early morning and my schedule is 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. When I got the job, the only stipulation was that they would not be able to contact me for stuff like scheduling issues, shift coverage, or other issues, but it did not mention anything about after hours on call. Outside of my normal hours, I don't give a hoot about the plant. I'll usually answer calls out of my own goodwill as long as it doesn't happen all the time. However, my sleep time is sacred. If I'm woken up, it will take me at least an hour to fall back to sleep if I'm lucky. My phone started going off at around 1 a.m. and went off a few more times before my wife gave me a swift kick, telling me to shut it off or answer it. I call back and it's our shift technician, Clayton. He apologized for waking me up, but they've been dealing with an issue for hours, so I helped him out and it took all of 5 minutes. After hanging up, I ended up lying there in bed for another 2 hours before falling back asleep. That morning, my supervisor, John, has me meet him in his office, and this is how the conversation goes. John: "It seems we had an eventful night. Clayton had to get a hold of me. You didn't answer his call?" Me: "Around 1 a.m.? I was asleep and the phone didn't wake me." John: "Well, he called me, and I wasn't able to do much for him, so I had him call you back. Told him you were probably hard to wake up and to keep calling." Me, a little upset now: "Well, I'm always happy to help the guys, but they can't rely on me to always be available. I usually keep my phone in the kitchen, but I just happened to have left it on my nightstand last night." John: "Well, this isn't exactly the first time they've had trouble reaching you." Me, a bit more agitated: "Most likely because my phone was in the kitchen. I don't keep it on me 24/7. "You're required to have a phone on you." Me, ticked off: "Okay, nowhere in the policy does it dictate that I am to keep on a phone on me at all times, nor does my job description. I'm only required to have a method for you to contact me if we have a scheduling change or some other issues that deal directly with my ability to get to work. If you wish for me to be on call, then perhaps we need to discuss promoting me to a position that requires me to be on call, but I am happy with my current arrangement. If you feel differently, then maybe we need to invite HR to join our conversation." That's where things ended. I'm well aware that I could suffer some consequences for this, but I feel that this is an overstep on their part. I do have a good working relationship with everyone, but when he said that, I pretty much snapped at him, and now I'm feeling like a jerk. So, am I the jerk? ETA. Well, this got way more of a response than I imagined. 1. So I've been keeping notes and saving all communications over the years, and have backups of all call logs and text transcripts. This was done just to keep myself covered, but now I see that it will come in use. I have a meeting with the head of HR tomorrow, and my plan is to lay enough info to show a pattern of what's going on. 2. On the recommendation of another Redditor, I did send an email to my boss asking him to confirm that I'm expected to keep my phone on me at all times, and he responded, affirmative. Well, that's part of the info package. 3. While they do not pay for my phone, there have been insinuations made by supervisors that since the company provides a corporate discount through the carrier I use, that it justifies them asking us to be available. I don't even use this discount because we can't stack it with other discounts. I have a family plan, and since my mother is on it, we get to use the discount that the county she works for provides, and it's a better discount. Anyway, I will provide an update once things shake out. Thanks, everyone. Getting sent home for doing what I was told to do, then in trouble for going home. Years and years ago, I was working for a fast food restaurant. I was a crew trainer, and part of the crew trainer training was watching some videos talking about your responsibility. One of those responsibilities was called coaching. If you see someone, even a manager, that actually said those words on the video, doing something incorrectly, you were to coach them on the correct procedures. I'm sure you can see where this is going. So flash forward some time, and I was working with a manager nobody liked. I witnessed the manager do something wrong. Specifically, she poured out 2 medium fries to make a large fry to give to a customer. That was a big no-no. You were never supposed to take an already packaged item and use it to make a smaller or larger package. So, cue malicious compliance. And next time I saw the manager, I simply said to her that what she did was wrong and that she should have waited for fresh fries to finish cooking. Well, she looked at me and said that I am a manager and I don't have to follow the rules. Go and clock out now and go home. So I did. I went and punched out, grabbed my jacket, and started walking out of the store. She came up behind me and said, I want to talk to you before you go. I turned and said, sorry, you had me clocked out. I'm no longer working, and you can no longer keep me here to talk. You should have done this before I clocked out. And I walked out of the door. She tried to get me in trouble and fired, tried to claim that I walked off the job, tried to claim that she never told me to clock out. However, there were too many witnesses to the whole ordeal, and she couldn't get her way. Too many of my friends I worked with told the store manager my story was 100% accurate and that she was lying. I have no idea why he kept her after this, but he did. I ended up quitting a few months later because she made my life heck every time I worked with her. Then later she got fired for trying to get the store manager fired. So in the end, she lost. No, ma'am, you cannot demand we hire your son. A few years ago, I worked at a store that dealt in used electronics. It was mostly movies, games, and pop culture merch, but we also sold a wide variety of items like cameras and headphones. It was a very popular store, due partly to the low prices and the fact that we generally paid more than our competitors for used goods, but customers also liked the atmosphere. The staff was very close-knit, and management encouraged a casual approach to customer service. So not only was it a cool place to shop, it seemed like a cool place to work, which it was. This meant that during all times of the year, we were flooded with applications. We actually had a new apps box behind the counter that had to be emptied for filing once a week because it would always fill up. As a retail establishment, we did have a moderate turnover, but the store was small and only had 11 to 15 people employed there at any given time, so we only occasionally picked up new hires. This didn't stop people from applying, especially recent graduates who were hoping that the cool video game store would be their first job. I was working the front counter at the time entitled Mom walked in the door. This happened a while ago, so the conversation is of course paraphrased. She approached me, and I smiled and greeted her. Me. Hi, how can I help you? Entitled Mom. Hi, can I speak to the manager? Me. Oh, of course, but he's currently in the office on a call. He was. Is there something I can help you with before he's available? My son turned in an application a month ago, and he hasn't heard anything back. Me, apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. We get a lot of applications, to the point where our employment manager can't call people back if they aren't accepted for an interview. This should be mentioned on the application, but I'm sorry if your son wasn't told that. However, we keep applications on file for 6 months, so if a position opens up, we could still possibly consider him for employment. She huffed and rolled her eyes, giving me a sarcastic laugh. That's ridiculous. Are you guys prejudiced against hiring boys or something? I blinked at her. I was one of the 2 girls employed at this location, compared to 11 guys. Of the 4 people visible behind the counter, I was the only girl. Me. Ma'am, I'm one of the only girls that works here. Entitled Mom seemed to notice this and began to splutter a little because she was getting flustered. She continued laughing sarcastically through her sentences. So what? Are you prejudiced against hiring hard workers? I honestly didn't know what to say. I was trying not to laugh because it was such a weird response. Me. No, we just have a lot of applicants, and the chances of getting picked are low. It's not personal. But if you'd still like to ask the manager about it, I can go see if he's finished on the phone. Entitled mom, huffing, still laughing. No, never mind. This is just ridiculous. I'm taking my business to your competitor. She stomped away. After she left, my coworkers and I just looked at each other and started laughing. We chatted about it for a little while, and when the manager came back from the office, we told him about the encounter. He basically said what I said, that it was one application in a sea of many, and it wasn't personal. Honestly, if you come into a store and demand the manager to hire your kid, it's probably only going to hurt their chances. Nobody wants to deal with someone's crazy parent hovering around the business all the time. Speaking of cool stores, what's your favorite store of all time? Please let us know. 3 words. Bed, Bath, and Beyond. Isn't that actually 4? Click this button to join as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video. And come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.